What's up, guys? Welcome back to Most Marvelous Mocks, and today we're looking at the final segment for building the last stand of Order 66. The story behind this mock is that the last clone troopers of Order 66, some didn't go over to the dark side, and some they refused to do Order 66, and their minds are more advanced than other clones, and they decided to stick with the good side, and they've had to flee to another planet far away from the Imperials, and they've hid in this old Jedi temple and made use of it as their camp. And the stormtroopers, an elite force of stormtroopers, including Death Troopers and Darth Vader, have finally found them and come to wipe out them. As you guys can see, I've added a ton of stuff to this mock, including finishing off the mountain, making it way taller, and making a ruined temple kind of area on the mountain, and making the entire thing look like a temple. I also added a ton of minifigures, as you can see, on the beach and on the mountain, and one is even in the forest. I did not do much of the vegetation, kept that pretty much the same, so I've just mainly been finishing off the mountain and adding characters, and I think the turnout was really, really good. So here we have the stormtroopers invading from the beach, and they just landed. So these guys were out on the front on the beach, probably shooting at the stormtroopers coming in, and when they finally hit the beach, this guy was caught and couldn't get away, and Darth Vader got him. As you can see, there's some blood coming in here. I used red studs, translucent red studs, and put it in the water to make it look like it was flowing in there, and I think that looked really good. And a lot of 1x1 clear red studs with the cheese slope to make it look like it was flowing out of his side, and Darth Vader's just walking off up here dramatically. And then we got these custom stormtroopers that I made and had a tutorial on how to make them on a video I made called How to Make Your Stormtroopers Look Awesome. Now I have here, we have Sevi shooting, Commando Sevi shooting with a minigun, and then we have another guy coming out of the cave. He looks pretty cool. And then we have a 501st running down the staircase here, and then right here we got a little statue. The mountain, I wanted to make it a clone base at first, but then I decided I was going to lean more towards a ruined temple kind of vibe, which I think worked really well, especially with all the vegetation. Over here we have the other side of the beach, and these guys are running and attacking them from a different side. These guys were in the forest, and we have a sniper camping here, getting ready to shoot at the stormtroopers and help Sevi block the entrance to the base they've made of the Jedi temple. And here we have a stormtrooper trying to escape. He's already been hit and injured, and he's thrown off his helmet, but he's being pursued, and he got shot after he threw off his helmet. And yes, the Death Troopers coming in and flanking them. So here we have the part where the clone troopers are using the old Jedi temple as their base. You can see these arches. I put these two arches here, making it look like the mountain's way bigger, making it look like it spreads out into a larger area where they can encamp. And I cut off the mountain, obviously, because the base plate wasn't large enough to finish it, and that was just how the design for the mock was going to go. I used a statue here. I used that from I got it from a Lego Lord of the Rings set, weather top, and I just used that for this. Then I added a lot of these pillars. The ground up here is pretty broken, and it's not all flat. Not all the studs are flat on here. That had to do with the way I designed it below. A lot of the pieces were just kind of bending and stuff, and I used that. I wasn't necessarily originally doing that, but I used that to my advantage, and it looks really good with as you can see, the crevices going in and then making the pillars out of lean, and I just think it looks really, really clean. So going down here, we have the staircase, and we have an airborne trooper. He's pretty decked out, walking down the staircase. We got lots of vegetation growing off the walls, just vines and flowers and the whole load. And then we got the airborne troopers obviously coming down. And for the mountain, I used just tons of different pieces, lots of kind of like greebling, but with mountain, obviously, not mechanical stuff. I just used a bunch of different pieces and threw them together, put things on their side, used snot, and I really like the way this mountain effects look, similar to what I used on the Vanguard mock to build the mountains, and I just think it looks really good. If I had a light brick piece, or headlight brick piece, that was over on this side, and it was on a 1x1 wall where the back of it wasn't covered up, I would like here, where I used the headlight piece to put the vine in, I would just put a vine like this on the other side and make it flipped around than the other ones, and I think that looked good. It made some contrast with the vines, making them all look exactly the same. Then we have the vegetation for the forest, which I think turned out amazing. The whole point of this mock was to actually have really dense vegetation in a small area so I could add as much detail as possible and not be worried about using up all my vegetation pieces. I think it looks great using all these different techniques. There's a coral piece there that I use. There's a bunch of different things like this piece. That's very cool looking piece, and I just used all my vegetation pieces, packed them together. I laid a lot of vines on the ground and just kind of stuck them where you couldn't see the end, so it looks like it's attached and growing out, and I think this looks really good. I added a tree here, just piled a bunch of leaves on it. A good trick with trees is to just, once you get to the top, not make it super smooth looking like down here. It doesn't really matter, just pile a ton of leaves on top and that'll cover up it not looking as smooth, especially from far away. And then I made these pine trees here. I used 2x2 brown cylinders and placed them at an angle on top of each other, slowly bending them, and then piling the top with pine tree leaves, or not pine tree, palm tree leaves. And it looks really good. I used that technique for a long time and I still do to this day because I love it. A lot of the vegetation is broken or not placed down on the base plate completely because it just looks like it has a more vegetation feel, them at an angle and falling down. And yeah, so there's a guy hiding there. I used some palm tree, different color than the ones I used right here, a brighter lime-ish green, and I just placed them down for bushes. Just put them down, not connected to anything, and I think that looks great. A good tip with vegetation is really just placing stuff down. You don't have to clip it anywhere or place it on a stud. You can just loosely place it on and it looks great because the forest, there's broken stems and everything everywhere. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you stuck around, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button and comment which part is your favorite. I'm going to come out with a cinematic for this video very shortly. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. There is another mock series coming up very soon, which I will be doing in a few days. So stay tuned for that. See ya.